13 seconds. You only need
That's
to make
it, bro.
13 seconds of the
As
song.
soon as you told me that, I was literally like, what the? That's so crazy. I didn't even.
I just figured it out.
Whoa!
Don Darko's been absolutely killing it on TikTok recently with his drum and bass remixes racking up millions of views, and I think he's just got over 6,000 followers in I think like 3 weeks. In the next 45 minutes, he's just going to spill the beans and reveal everything that goes into growing viral on TikTok as a music producer or a DJ, as well as all the inner workings of creating a fan base from scratch, because this Don Darko project is new and he's just starting from scratch with it. You guys will probably also recognize him as Saint Quinn, or one half of Oriental Cravings, which he recently departed from and is now just called Crave. And so this isn't his only success. He's got over a half decade of experience and success as a music producer in the music industry and nightlife, all the way from back when he was a bartender. So if you guys are a DJ or producer, consider subscribing. I share my experiences from when I was a DJ producer, all the dumb mistakes I made at ages 18 and 24, so you don't need to repeat any of the painful lessons that I learned, because I can just tell you on the internet. And now that I'm doing these interviews, you can learn from the experiences of others as well. But other than that, this is Don Darko, also known as Quincy.
So you finally worked out TikTok.
Yes.
Took you fucking long.
Well,
enough.
still kind of, but like I'm way more invested in it for sure.
Yeah,
like I've
'cause
got like a momentum now.
Yeah, because we were trying for you were trying for a while. I tried for a while, then I worked it out, and then I stopped. But
Yeah.
when we were doing those Zoom calls, like me, Blackout, Paul.
Yeah.
You tried a couple things. What did you try in the past?
Well, so I tried some stuff and then I stopped, right? And then like I knew that music is going to be a hard one to crack. Like music is, you know, as you can tell, like this. You told me yourself, like that niche is done and dusted. It's overdone, and it's kind of hard to really stand out.
Yeah, I think the point that I made was like, because you guys are like in the music space, it's like a naturally trendy space, and so whenever there's a trend, they hop on it. And so like music producers and DJs are the first ones to adopt new technology, and TikTok's a new technology.
Yeah. So what I did was I just broke it down. Like I spent a while, so I stopped it and I figured out like what I was doing compared to other people. I was working for them, but there could be plenty of different factors from like the music itself to the genre to the type of people that listen to that genre, and like how they would actually react to those sorts of videos. And like I think the thing that I figured out was like my drops needed to be a little bit more hectic enough, so that people would, it gives it more of a wow factor from the audio side. And then the other part that I tried to nail was the hook. So there was this one guy, this video, and he's a musician, like he's a rapper or something, and there was like a video of him for like an hour of him just analyzing hooks of videos that are popular. And then he explains to you why this one isn't doing well or why this one is going to do well, why people do this, and he tells you visually, the audio, the expression of the person's face, and I just kind of took that all in, and I just basically I spent more time trying to find a good hook and create something that was like a wow factor, and so that's how I got my traction, I think, is from that, because I know that they'll stay once they're hooked in, but I needed the hook, because I got the music is easy for me to do, but the hook is the hard part. And so that's why I had the camera that goes in zooms in to Perth City, all the way to my bedroom. So as if like you're from outer space looking in. And then I needed it to be as clear as possible for people to just kind of like see, oh, you know, like if I showed someone this and it's just like a map zooming in and be like, I'm a producer from Perth, you know, Western Australia. It's kind of like, what the, like, you know, drum and bass producer or some shit. Like they have to like be held intrigued as to like, oh, what's this got to do with they have to try and put it together. Yeah. And for them trying to piece it together, or what the zooming in and stuff was, where it's going to. Yeah. Plus it's very satisfying watching it zoom in. You know, that was like another thing. It's like if you can satisfy someone with the first 3 seconds of like making them, ooh, like just, even though they don't really give a shit about it, like you'd still watch the first 3 seconds just to be like, where is this going to, you know? Yeah,
I think the other thing as well, we were talking about in those little fucking Zoom calls we were doing as a group, where geography is a really easy relatable factor. So like an easy way to like hook someone is it has to be relatable to them, and where you fucking live is pretty relatable. So like if there's like any TikToks where you like recognize a landmark, you'll just watch it. Like doesn't matter what fucking niche it's in, like what was going on like across the road from me and stuff like that. But for the people that are watching and don't know what the fuck we're talking about, tell us about your TikTok and how it's been growing, and I suppose the origins and how you got to, because it's been growing. It's only been like 3 weeks.
Yeah, like I've literally have not. Yeah, it's been like a month, I think, just over.
Yeah.
That's all in Instagram and on TikTok, and now I'm like almost reaching 3,000 followers on Instagram, and then just surpassed 6,000 on the TikTok. And that's gonna like grow at a rapid rate depending on how consistent I put out content. And then now I'm just obviously putting out more content and, like you said, doubling down on it. How I got started was I wanted to, like, what's crazy is like I called it out on my on this whole project. Like I set the intention that this is what I was going to do. I actually released a couple of videos where I literally said I'm going to aim to be the biggest drum and bass producer in Australia. And I tried to do a little series and stuff, but that didn't go too well just because like the hook wasn't there and all that. That was when I was still trying to experiment. But it's kind of there of my intention of what I wanted to do. And so the preparation, I think, is the most important thing for me. Like I got my workflows down packed. If I was going to make a video, if I was going to do artwork, if I was going to do a song, the length of the song, what type of songs I was going to remix, what type of genre I was going to niche down to, all these things I like checklisted myself before I went and started executing it. So it was one of those things where like, I kind of like, I guess, well, I was obviously surprised, but I was not at the same time, because I was like, well, it ticked all the boxes as to all these other things why other people are growing, so if I do the same thing, then essentially I could do it. And so a lot of it is, like you said, consistency. And nowadays, especially with music, it's more of a quantity rather than just quality. If Drake's putting out 50 songs a fucking year and he's already gatekeeping the top, how are you going to do it? How are you gonna make it? You're only putting up 3 songs a year, man. So if he puts out 50 songs, you're going to have to put out 100. Stupid as that sounds, and they're gonna have to be really close to that quality as well. And then so like I'm thinking about the same shit, but then good thing that my niche is drum and bass, and you're looking at all these big drum and bass dudes in my niche, and they're putting out really good consistent tunes, but they're only putting it out like maybe a couple of times a month. And that's a lot, and I'm trying to put one out every week, and on the same level of production as well, because I believe in my own skills that I can do that. So if I could do that, then like essentially, if I'm thinking to myself, like, how is it not possible that I could surpass them or get to the same level as they can in a shorter amount of time if I double down on the quantity while still having that, maintaining that quality? Because I don't have to abide to a label like most of them do,
Yeah. I remember we were talking whenever I was at yours last couple of weeks ago before we went to the Magnet. You were like, it's so hard to churn out like a whole remix like every single week. I'm like, no, you're just uploading 13 seconds. You only need about 13 seconds of the song.
As soon as you told me that, I was literally like, what the fuck? Like, I don't have to put out
no, this is the other 4 minutes.
Yeah.
It's on TikTok. And because you're like, I need to make the whole thing.
And then when they build hype, and then when they build hype, then I can make it into a 3-minute song.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're like making the whole thing. I'm like, dude, you don't even know if anyone wants it yet. Just make 13 seconds and then just like sell it before you build it. And then if one fucking slaps, then make the rest of the fucking intro and the fucking second.
And I did that with the Kendrick one, and I did that with the Dizzy Rascal one. I just get constantly DMs of people, dude, when are you going to release it? Is it going to drop before New Year's at least? Drop it. And I'm like, fuck it. I'll just put it up like yesterday, and I'm going to put a TikTok tonight. Because like that video obviously did well, so now I can just do the same thing, but then just say, oh, it's out, and then it'll gain more traction. And then that's what's fucking sick about it.
Are you collecting anyone's emails for like a waiting list?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, you're doing that. Cool.
So like this was cool, right? So I have like SoundCloud. People are like, oh yeah, he's putting out on SoundCloud, but SoundCloud is actually my tool to get people's emails and my tool to get Spotify followers.
Yeah.
So like I've only released one song officially as like my first ever single, right? And it sounds like nothing like the music that I'm making right now. And that song in itself, self-release, is almost on 10,000 listens on Spotify. And I've almost got 1,000 followers on my Spotify. Yeah. And now I've got like several hundred emails, and that's just because of me putting out, you know, these remixes on TikTok. So I'm trying to have like goals per every single platform. Yeah. So like I found out that TikTok is SEO optimization now in 2023. So they're putting in geolocation tagging. They're increasing the word of the description to 150 characters. So you got to literally just spam whatever it is niche that you're making. I'll put jump up drum and bass in blah 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 blah, the Dizzy Rascal, and I'll put it there in the description, put it there in the caption of the video. I will have it as like tagged in that it's Perth, so that everything is just so that if people will search jump up or drum and bass or Perth DNB, mine's gonna pop up, and it fucking does. Yeah. So like, and then Reels is completely different now because people watch TikToks mainly with sound, because when you're TikToking, you're usually in bed. But in Instagram, you're also watching just like, you know, information and stuff. So that has to be a little bit more curiosity. So my aim in Reels is to try and get people to listen with the sound on. So what I've actually done that worked is I put a little video thing at the start of the video that has that like the volume bar that goes all the way to full. Just to kind of like give them a little idea. Oh, maybe I need to turn this up. So otherwise it's going to be useless, you know. So that's what I'm doing on Reels as opposed to I'm doing on TikTok.
Yeah, 100%. How long does one take you to make? Because I think 30 minutes.
Dude, yeah, like honestly 30 minutes. I think
is that including like the actual production of the like 15 seconds?
Yeah, including. See where I have my phone right now on the Zoom call.
Yeah. Probably pretty familiar to the rest of your
and
TikTok.
then I'm like, you know.
Yeah. So have you recorded like, so the way I could see myself doing that is and I think you have, because I can see you reusing some clips. You've just recorded all the different clips. You just got them as a batch of like frequently used clips, and then you just drag and drop them in.
That's also because I'm fucking lazy.
No, it's like you got to do it faster. So like when I'm doing my YouTube videos, there's like a couple audio clips and a couple video clips that I use all the time, and I just have them in a folder called frequently used clips.
Yeah.
And so I just drag it, like, all right, cool, that goes there. Now basically my videos take me fucking way less time.
So like I'll open a previous video. So like, for example, the next video that I'm going to do, it'll be reopened file of the last video I did. And all I did was just cut out the stuff and then put the new ones back in, you know. But I'm also trying to simplify it as well, because sometimes you don't need that many cuts. You don't need that many angles. I do see some of my other videos, even with just me with one angle, end up working better, and all I have to do is change the zooms, change the effects, maybe have little different captions or whatnot. So you know, like, so that's what I'm trying to figure out now, instead of me having to record two different angles, because it can be really annoying me walking into a door after pressing record. You know, you know, if it's not going to do, you know, just, you know, better than ones of me just with one video of me doing this, you know.
100%. I want to circle back to what you said before with like building the email list, because I think that's something a lot of DJs and producers neglect, is their email list, because you own that traffic. Like, fucking SoundCloud could shut down tomorrow and you lose all your followers. Or TikTok gets banned in Australia, but like an email list, like that's not going to fucking anywhere. Like, like I just managed to log into my old like Tone Den account for Wilco like couple weeks ago, and it was like 6,000 emails. It was like 6,000 or 7,000 emails in there.
Fuck,
bro,
man.
I sent an email. So, all right, so to put in perspective, an open rate of like 10% is pretty good in emails. Dude, I got 57%.
Yo, more than half opened it. Was like, damn, what the fuck does this nigga Wilco want?
All it was, I just had like the sender name Wilco, and the subject all lowercase. Did you miss me? 57%. It was fucked. I thought it was a glitch, bro.
Oh my god! What did you put in the actual thing though?
It was just promoting like the first YouTube video I put up like in the DJ personal development
Yeah,
space,
yeah.
like the one about mentors and stuff like that. And yeah, it just fucking just slapped. It was like 57%. I was getting people replying saying, "Oh, bro, you're back," and shit like that.
But you see, I knew emails are going to be important because you always reiterated, Paul, Jackson, always reiterated how important it is for having emails, because that is like your own marketing, like you're building your own marketing database. But I don't know what to do with my emails yet. So I haven't done shit with the emails that I have. I'm just collecting them.
Yeah, just collect them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when you have releases, it's just about promoting your releases and things like that.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to be emailing them fucking every day, because that's when people unsubscribe.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So it's just about like promoting like the big things, like not like, so let's say for example you have an email list of 3,000 people from all around the world. You're not going to email them about your gig at Magnet House in Perth on Friday. It has to be something that's like, unless you fucking, I think Tone Den actually lets you segment by city. In that case, might actually be kind of cool. But it has to be like relevant to them as well. When you get to emailing people, just hit me up and I'll teach you.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I was gonna like do for next, obviously. Also for like when I start releasing my solo stuff, that's where, as in like my originals, that's when it's gonna be really important. And I think that I'm trying to see if I can like help monetize these remixes and put it in like a Patreon maybe, because I do have people that are wanting to throw money at me just to be like, can I have these now before you release it? I'll even throw some money at you, and I'm kind of just like, oh fuck, I don't want to be that guy that'd be like, here you go, give me fucking $100
it depends how much of a capitalist pig you are. I mean, but
at the same time, like this could be good in the long run, you know, because people do dub plates and stuff, and I think like I can foresee myself churning these remixes out for like, you know, maybe the next couple of years. I'm just getting well ahead of it. Like I've got so many already finished that I need, you know, I'm not struggling here to make them, to finish them. Like it takes me a day to make it because I just have my workflow down packed. I have one that Look at Me by X. That's also going to come out. I think that's my niche that I found, is that everything, it's becoming way more niche than just like, oh yeah, I'm just doing music. It has to be more niche. That what type of music? Drum and bass. Yeah, what type of drum and bass? Jump up. Okay, how are you gonna think from other jump up? Oh, I'm gonna my thing is I'm gonna do all the hip hop / grime tunes, and I'm gonna flip them to jump up drum and bass remixes, and that's my niche. You know? So like I have my goal here written on my phone. I want to be the headaches of Australia. You know? And so that's like, as soon as I stay on that trajectory and stay in my lane, it becomes like way easier to find the next thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. That was one thing that was like, obviously like my Wilco thing had its niche. Now that I'm trying the YouTube thing, the like most common problem. So I was in this YouTube course, Ali Abdal's one, and like the most common thing that came up was like people trying to figure out their niche. And so what I originally thought was like, oh, I'll do personal development. Like I'm all about that.
You Venn diagrammed the fuck out of it, didn't you? Yes, I knew it.
And anyway, so like there was like a live stream lecture, and I think Ali was like talking about niches. And he's like, who here wants to do personal development as their niche? And everyone raises their hand. He's like, exactly. Everyone wants to do personal development, but it's so fucking broad. So basically, the more broad your niche, the more followers you already have to have. So if you want to do like personal development, you need like at least already 1 million subscribers, because it's so fucking broad. And so the smaller your follower base, the more niche your message has to be, because when you don't have the social proof to get someone to like follow your message, needs to speak directly to them. So the thing, so then I went down from like personal development to like personal development for like 18 to 24-year-old DJs. Because if you see that, you're like, oh, that's exactly me. And like all the lessons I learned were like physically, emotionally, or like financially fucking expensive.
That's so crazy. I didn't even think of that. That just blew my mind.
And the other thing as well, because I didn't do it because I was worried. I was like, that niche is so small, like 18 to 24-year-old DJs. And then firstly, like the internet's global, so there's fucking plenty of them, don't worry. But the other thing is, it's your message doesn't just talk to that niche, it will talk to anyone with an affinity for that audience. So it's not just 18 to 24-year-old DJs. It's like if you work in nightlife and you're a photographer, or you're just interested in DJs and stuff like that, it speaks to them too. So I get people like subscribing and commenting that aren't even fucking DJs. They're just interested in like what goes on in an 18 to 24-year-old DJ's life. And literally. Because there's probably plenty of people you follow on like YouTube where like you're not in their niche, but it's just like, that's fucking interesting. Like I wonder what's going on in that space.
You're so correct. Because then once you've like brought it up and you like say like have 1 million subscribers at one point, you just have to talk about music industry niche, you know, as a whole, and people will come to you because they're like, it's so relevant to the. Oh fuck, that's so true.
Yeah, and I noticed
like
it
that's how
like
Skrillex does it as a music. He started off as you know, emo fucking the dubstep kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And then as he's expanded, that he's doing fucking songs with Justin Bieber, and it appeals to the masses. But you can't start doing that from
here's a thought that just sprung to mind. So when you scale Facebook and Instagram ads, right, from like spending $10 a day to spending like $1,000 a day, what actually happens is when you have a smaller budget, you have to speak more directly to like a smaller group of people. But as you scale up, because you reach less relevant people, your message has to get broader to apply to like a larger population. I just figured it out.
Whoa!
Yes.
Dude, now I know exactly how to make the MRE ads now.
Yeah. Yeah,
you right now, lazy ass motherfucker sitting in the toilet. Get your motherfucking ass up.
That's a good tangent. Tell us about MRE and things like that. I think that my next kind of sequence of questions was going to be, like, are you doing just music full time, or I know the answers to this, but do you have like a day job, and what does your week look like so you can?
Of course, well, at the moment I'm in holiday mode, so I'm just full DARKOEing it up right now. And doing all my drum and bass stuff, and literally paying no attention to my day job. My day job is I work at Music Rocks, so I manage that business, helping out with Dean. And there's also a side hustle to Music Rocks that I'm running, which is called MRE Academy, which is a DJ school that was pretty much originally founded with the idea by yourself, and then I've kind of just taken that business model on board, and running it through Morley, and that's been really, really fun as well, because it doesn't feel like a job. It feels like I you know, like I'm hustling for myself. You know, it feels like another one of my projects, which is fucking great. And now you know, we're starting to see, basically we're starting to see almost regular of like, you know, 8 to 10 students and stuff kind of like coming through a month, that are wanting to get into our 10-week course. And then what happens is we take them out to Magnet House. We had our first Magnet House show last month, and that was not even last month, it was December, this month actually, start of the month, and all our students killed it. And once that's happened, it's kind of like it means that we're kind of ready to kind of like upscale it, because now like we've seen how much success and how much confidence it builds amongst our young DJs, how much opportunities they're getting now to be able to DJ at places, not just like Magnet House, but they can, you know, do Paramount and all the other, you know, other places around the city. And then now it's just figuring out a way to make it kind of like run, like not on autopilot, but in a way where it's very smooth from the first process to when they're enrolled in. Because there's a lot of working parts, obviously, and that's what is fucking stressful. So I'm obviously doing that as my main job, and then at nighttime I basically sit in this chair and do Don Darko stuff, which is why I've started putting on weight the last fucking year, man.
I was pulling it the other night. If you were to go, so how long because you went the opposite route, where sometimes people start as a DJ and then they'll start producing. You were a producer first and then a DJ.
Producer first. Yeah. And I learned DJing. Like I literally rented CDJ 900s. Didn't know if I was doing it correctly, to be honest. But I didn't really properly learn DJing and became confident until Eugene, the other half of my old project, came in the scene with me, because he was the DJ, and then I learned while I was doing. While we were performing, essentially, and so that created So what was the transition to actually getting like your first gigs, like not as a producer? Because I remember you hit me up, and you were like trying to find like I think you wanted to get in contact with Jeff or something for like bookings and stuff like that. What was that transition? I imagine that transition was relatively easy because you already had the contacts like banked up. And a lot of people knew already of me. So every time someone asked me this question, I always do give them like a little disclaimer. I'm like, how I did it is a completely like it's not the right way. It's so unorthodox, because I kind of like just like skipped all that bullshit part. I went straight to the top there. Because they already
you just messaged me. I'm like, yeah, I'll just loop in an email with Jeff.
Yeah. Literally, I just told Slims, I was like, oh, I kind of want to DJ now. Now I'm the resident for the last 2 years. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There are guys that have been trying to get residencies at Slims for like 2 years, and they've already been DJing for ages and that before that, you know. But I think it's the most important thing, like what you said in your videos that I really resonated with, was just like making sure people like they like you. Honestly, you just have to be really liked, and just have to be that kind of guy that is sensible and behaves themselves in a way, you know. As like,
just trying not to laugh.
There's a graph where it's like comfortability and sensibility. So the more comfortable you are, the sensibility you can go down. You know what I'm saying?
That's gonna be another graph I draw out.
It correlates with that. So like at the start, you really have to act as if like you have to be as respectful and think literally about the other person. Honestly, when you go into a club and stuff like that, you got to think like, shit, you know, these guys. Okay, for example, when I went to Slim's, I know how busy Sam gets, and I know how stressful he gets. I would always screen his mood, right? Because he used to be the one that manages me when I worked behind the bar, and he manages him back then. I used to screen his mood, right? How is the night going? Has there been many fights? I would ask the fucking bouncers, been lots of fights and stuff. No, it's been pretty good night. Fuck yes, I know Sam's gonna be good mood.
Yeah, I could fuck around now.
when he walks out the door to come say hi, I'll see how he says hi to me. If he smiles, he goes, what's up, Q-tip, and says a joke, there, I'm all good. I can go talk. I can go ask for fucking sets. I can go get people in the line. And he's like, if he doesn't smile and he just walks right past me, he's like, what's up, man? I want to bother. And you just gotta know, you gotta read the room, because now every single interaction I have with Sam, then he'll be like, oh, it's always been positive. Yeah, Q-tip's good, you know. Now and then it gets to a point where, like, even if it's how busy, I can ask him for favors and stuff like that, and he'll just know because it's me. But then at the start, you really have to understand and read the room. You don't want to be hassling them. You want to try and make their life easy, you know. So like, you know, if shit fucking happens, you know, like for example, like people lining up, and it's meant to be 2 lines. And there's like 4 lines, and the ball lines is closed. You know, I'd go out of the fucking line and just like move it in or something, and just be like, guys, just kind of move over here and let's help them out, whatever. Go above and beyond, and those are the things that really stick in their mind. You know, like, little things like fucking you're there and you get see Glassy picking up glass, helping them move it, and putting in a thing, little shit like that. The Glassy's gonna be like, oh, cheers, bro. And guess what happens every single time you go into the club? Hey, dude, what's up? You build that relationship, you start talking, you get to know him, you know? Same shit when you're at the bar, bro. Yeah. It's all about fucking...
That's exactly. So like that little fucking 4 circle thing I had, like the people that are backstage, like that includes the bartenders as well. Like they're going to see every fucking day. If you're nice to the bartenders, guess what? Guess who they're going to serve first?
Bro, and exactly. And the thing that people don't fucking realize is they always have these things where because you're a DJ, you go into the club and people think you're top shit. Bro, you're just a fucking other staff. Go talk to the staff, bro. Don't fucking just only talk to the promoters and people that are into the music industry. Talk to the bartenders and treat them like they're human beings. That is probably, I reckon, one of the biggest things that I see myself doing that I don't see anyone else doing. Like I will I'll go out of my way to build relationships with the bartenders and the glassies, because I used to be one of them. So I know exactly what it's like, you know? Being mates, because they knew normal human beings as well. And they probably love drum and bass, probably love all this music. They probably like you as a DJ. Just take the time to fucking talk, you know? And a lot of them would be like, dude, you're my favorite fucking DJ, blah, blah. But then I'm thinking in my head, I do play very similar sets to this person, you know? Am I their favorite DJ because subconsciously they like me more because I make more of an effort to talk to them? Or is it because I'm a fucking fully sick DJ and play bangers, you know? You can play bangers all you want, but if you're not like friendly with the staff.
Well, that's the thing. Like as a DJ, it's really hard to have a unique selling point over every other single fucking DJ, because at the end of the day, if someone just downloads the same music as you, they can play the same set as you. But if you're just like not a dick and they get along with you, you'll instantly trump literally anyone else. Doesn't matter like what they have in their record box. Like I would always, when I was like early on playing at Metros, I would always just like, I wouldn't really hang backstage. I'd usually just sit in the staff room with the staff and talk shit. And we'd like play games where we'd like try and guess what song the DJ would play next, because we all knew his set. Yeah.
literally just shit like that. Or like another one I'd do is maybe I'd like use my bar card to be like, oh, to the bartenders,
like, do you want
a shot
anything
with me?
Yeah, like, do
Do
you
you
want
want
anything?
anything? You know, every time, or just shit like that. It goes a long way, you know, and that's what's just always when you go into the club. Rule of thumb as a DJ: dap up your promoters first, dap up your venue managers, let them know you're there, dap up the bar staff, dap up the glassies, then do your thing. Don't just walk in and assume your fucking position. Go say hi to everyone, bro.
Yeah.
You know, like you're not a fucking top shit, like whatever. Like go fucking say hi. When I was a glassy and bartender, the ones that I paid attention to the most is the artists that was super nice were the ones that fucking still said hi to the bartenders and shit like that. They didn't give a fuck, bro. Anderson .Paak, down to earth. What's so not? Down to fucking earth. We'll say hi and stuff to all the bar staff and everyone. Say thank you. And you know, you're not fucking top. Just because you played fucking hundreds of venues.
Yeah,
you can
I remember
still talk
like
to these guys are humans, right?
Yeah, I always remember like doing artist liaison for like all the artists that would come through like arcade and stuff like that. And you definitely remember the ones that are fucking dicks.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not booking that dude again.
Yeah, literally, man.
And then there'll just be a fucking conversation in a group chat. It's like, man, fuck that dude. So obviously everything you're fucking killing on TikTok now. MRE Academy is fucking slapping. What are you struggling with like the most at the moment?
Like I think this balancing my normal work life, obviously doing MRE and the music at the same time. That's for sure. Just because like I love them both at the same time, and I want both of them to see it grow. You know, like one has a lot of students that are like depending on me, and the other one is basically like what I want to do in life. So there's always that like kind of like which one do I kind of like sacrifice or like sometime and yeah, if you're looking for it like in a more professional standpoint, like looking at the outer spectrum, that's probably a big struggle. If I'm looking at it like in a specific terms, as if like in music wise, I think it's still trying to find a consistent hook that continuously evolves your viewers. Because like after a while, I'm gonna have to change the hook because people are gonna just see that zooming into the same person. I'm gonna have to do it like a different angle or something like that. I'll have to do it like from I'm gonna try different ways and just figure out how to make basically do that like perfectly. And then because I feel like I'm getting the hang of TikTok, but I definitely haven't cracked the code just yet. Like I think slowly, maybe once I've get consistent like 100,000 views and stuff like that, I'll give myself a pat in the back. That's kind of like but yeah, at the moment it's not there yet. Maybe I'm just hell hard on myself.
I think it's all right. Well, we can talk about both. So when it comes to the TikTok thing, I think it's just because as you're posting more of these, you get more data. So it's easier to learn the more like volume you're doing. Because if you're only getting like 1,000 views a video, you don't really have any like substantial outliers and data to actually look at. Why this one fucking bang? Because they're all doing like 1,000 views. But you've got one that's done like 1 million, I think. You've got a couple 100,000 like under your belt. So I think it's really about looking at like those ones. You go, all right, what the fuck happened there? Like that's 3 standard deviations above the fucking median, the bell curve. What happened there? But I think, like I said before, it's just like more like quantity and doing more things. And I don't think the like coming out with a new hook thing is something you had to force, because I think it will just like fucking cut. It'll be like last night when I sent you that voice memo. I was just like lying in bed. And I came up with an idea. I was like, what the fuck? Just try. It would just like probably come to you fucking randomly or something like that. That one will probably just come with time. And it's also not really even a fucking problem right now. You can just experiment with like a bunch of different shit. Have you tried doing different hooks with the same songs?
With the same, I did. The ones, because I try to make it like as I don't know, like joking around thing, but I find the ones that are very easier to understand and get straight to the point. I think the ones that are like that will do really well. Like, hi, I'm a Perth DJ and producer making drum and bass. Like they have to know what it is they're watching about. Because like, another one was like, that I tried was like, this song will make you backslap your nan or some shit like that. I don't think that one worked as well. I gotta really just have a look. But that's another thing that I'm trying to play around with like more, instead of their camera angles, it's just the wording in itself.
Have you tried anything that's not like promoting a remix or a song?
Yeah, see, that's what I need to. I'm trying to figure out what a good hook for that would be. Because like the one I tried is the Christmas one, but the hook where the picture was Mariah Carey, it wasn't really enticing enough. It's the POV. I did like a POV. You know, you're at Christmas and your family asks you to show you.
Have you tried stitching other fucking viral videos? I was talking to Blackout about this. All right, so what you're gonna do, right, is there was this like, I think they're a country band or a pop punk band or something like that. I can't remember, but I follow them on TikTok now. There was just this like one trend with alt girls with this "King for a Day" song from, I can't remember the name of the band now. It's embarrassing. And it was just like fucking tattooed goth girls, and he would just like stitch their stuff, and then he had like, in the background, he had like a wall with all their photos, and he was like mapping them together like a conspiracy board and stuff like that. And he was like just stitching all their stuff and like making a board of like all the tattooed goth girls on TikTok and stuff like that. And they actually built like fucking 500,000 followers from it. The girls started responding with stuff like that. So what you could do is just essentially just mooch, which is basically what I'm doing with this fucking podcast, is just mooch off of the reach of like other people instead of having to create your own, because then you can leverage their following instead of someone else. And so what you could do is like, I literally just go, I was like doom scrolling TikTok before this podcast. And I was like looking at one where there's like a podcast, some feminist podcast, and they're like, don't talk to girls, and then it cuts. It's like, all right, and then there's some dude's fucking producer song. It's like, wasn't planning on it and all this shit. So maybe you could just like find viral. I've seen some producers do that where they'll just stitch and essentially like react to something else with their song though. Because then the algorithm it essentially like serves it to people that also saw the original video too.
Yeah, right. But it has to be relevant to the stuff.
No, it doesn't. Oh, it doesn't have to be fucking relevant at all. This one was like some dude on a motorbike. Had nothing to fucking do with feminist podcasts or anything like that. It just stitched it. I was like, nope, and then just fucking got into it and did really well.
So like at the start, you know, I think Black Hat did that. It's like, what's the sound that all guys?
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
But like you actually stitch it though. So it, like the algorithm pins them together. You can do it without it, but it just won't get the reach of the original poster. Circling back to what you said about the like balancing the two things, like that's something I've kind of struggled with, but had to like do a lot of. So it's just what I told you before, right? It's just like the automate, delegate, eliminate stuff. So just like either get a robot to do it, get someone else to do it, or just fucking don't do it. Which I think you're doing a little bit more in MRA now because I've fucking told you to.
For sure. It's good. I think we have Jane who's doing the social medias and stuff. So like she's been putting out some cool, helpful content with all that stuff.
Yeah, on Instagram.
On Instagram. And she's also going to be the one that makes the like TikToks and does the market research for it. So like that, for when I send you and Joseph the videos to market, it'll be the ones that she makes. Because I think we'll find some good ones, because she actually can sit down there and actually make it herself instead of me.
Yeah, it's so time consuming to fucking.
It is, but especially if I'm like trying to think of the next video for my own TikTok, then I'm trying to like think TikTok, and then I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, I'm so glad I don't work in like nightclub marketing anymore, because Facebook and Instagram marketing is really, really low touch, because it's just like photos and images and stuff like that. Whereas TikTok, it is all video content, and it's so time consuming. Like I'm looking at like, because obviously I used to do all Capital Corps, now they're called Night Owl. I used to do all of their Facebook and Instagram ads, and then like I now see them posting on TikTok. I'm so fucking glad I don't do nightclub marketing anymore, because they take so long. And the other thing as well is it's not just the time it takes to make the TikTok; it's the time you had to research to find a fucking trend for it.
That's it. Honestly, for sure. It's fucked. But you know what I reckon though? Like, you know how podcasts are becoming like really, really relevant and super huge like these days? I think that eventually there's nightclubs like Capital Corp and like, you know, Boom Tick and stuff like that. They're going to eventually, down the years, I reckon, have their own podcast teams.
You reckon?
That will like, because can you imagine like the growth and the relevancy and how it would captivate people's attentions if you had, for example, imagine you go to Slims or like Metros and there's always guys running around with like cameras and like interviewing people like MTV.
Like that stuff.
Welcome to MTV Bar today. This week we have, but you can essentially make your own show every single week and put it out consistently. and I'm like, I don't know why they're not doing that. Like people, I reckon, you know, the only one I know who's doing it is Matter. Like Jared is getting on top of that shit. They've got these guys that are coming doing podcasts in every single time they're doing Matter. Every time they're doing seasons, they come and invite them in. You know, they'll probably like interview people. But like, imagine how much your reach as a brand will like be better if you have literally a team that all they do is just creating buzz around it. Yo, you know, you see Rufus and stuff. What the hell do you think it's gonna be like? You know, what do you think of a new album? And it just creates people talking about it, and then the microphone has that name, you know, like whatever, Boomtick and all that shit. I swear they already do it in the States, and like I pitched this idea to Boomtick, and I'm like, oh, you guys should do it. I wouldn't mind making a podcast, and they're like, nah, not interested. And I'm like, okay, fucking suit yourself. I'll just go, like you know,
I'll do it.
Yeah, and you know, now I'm just thinking about like, man. So eventually, like I would love to throw like a party, like a night, like how, you know, Isaac and Thing does with Volt, and then but imagine like having like after they finish, you have like a quick 5 minute where you're just talking to the artists that just played and stuff like that, or just like, you know, just asking them about things that you can put on the social media, and that's more content. I just don't know why people don't do that.
It's so time consuming. That's why, like, we don't even like at Where You, we don't, like, we barely ever fucking post, because firstly, like, all of our money comes from ads, and so if I want clients, I just press the on button on a campaign, and it's fucking 10 minutes later, and like we don't get. I mean, we still have a following and stuff like that, but it's people that like liked the ads, thought they were funny, and then followed us. But I'm literally hiring someone full time in like January, February, just to do content for us, because we tried to do it like just literally just like one post a week, and we couldn't even fucking do that with like the rest of the work we had to do. And I was like, it's not worth us going to the fucking effort of this when we have so much other shit to do. Like, we literally just need someone doing this full time if we want to have like any kind of like effective output, because it's just so tight. It's like the video, the editing and filming, the ideas, the production. I'm like, literally paying someone a fucking a relatively generous full-time salary. I'm like, all right, you're responsible for the follower count, make it go up. And that's all you do all day long.
Literally. That's it, man. Like I think I definitely do think though that like in this day and age, like attention obviously is the biggest like it's like the fucking biggest currency here. Especially if you're doing something with music and shit like that, right? You need, like me as a Don Darko, like, you know, I'm putting out all these things and these music every week for people's attention to look at my way, so that when I do put something big out, you know, then it'll increase my momentum. That's essentially what needs to happen with like club nights and stuff. If club nights can't put out music, they need to put out some form of content. Podcast is a great way to do a conversation starter for sure. You know, and like I reckon, you know how you have content teams, that people that make like content stuff for you. There's going to be eventually people that are going to make podcast teams that are going to start actually, you know, you're going around and having podcasts that are within like certain brands and affiliated with certain markets, so that like, you know, they constantly talk about it. I mean, like it's going to always work. You know what I'm saying? Like you're talking about the shit that people want to know about. You know, like, oh, imagine if Palace Motel or like, you know, no one but us. Everyone's obviously talking about it. Like, oh, Dizzy Rascal. Imagine in the lead up to it, they got Dizzy Rascal on a podcast. They got a bunch of other person on a podcast talking about it, and then during those podcasts, they keep slamming ticket sales.
I should probably bring that up with them, because we're doing all the Facebook and Instagram.
Bro, just imagine how much organic reach you would get. So you decrease just for people doing that, you know, and you just have to hire people like you or myself that are very comfortable in being in front of a camera, in front of a talking, and ask controversial questions to this kind, you know, like, I don't know, like, you know, freaking whatever, Snack, they bought Darude. Imagine leading up a week to it, you go to Darude. Hey, man, so do you get salty that people only know you for Sandstorm and nothing else? What is he going to say? Well, I got the songs. And then, you know, imagine if a video like that kind of gets traction. People are going to be like, oh, my God, they're going to want to see Darude more. They're going to go there to have that more relatability with Snack the brand, with Darude. But I don't know why no one is doing shit like that. You know, like that's what I want to fucking do. My goal next year, because I have a bunch of my friends here, all the boys, I want to make a podcast team that will cement in, you know, with a certain brand or with someone that wants to do it.
Was that one you kind of like soft launched a while ago, that Instagram
HYB
thing?
because like, you know, because then imagine what you can promote with that. Like, oh yeah, you know, you watch this podcast, if you listen with this code, you get 20% off just by listening to this. But you're all for the brand. You know, it's not just all to promote like yourself. Like if you have like a partnership with it, because it's kind of like your own TV squad, you know? You hire a videographer and guys with fucking that reports. Like, fuck, it's so catchy. Like, and like the fucking data is there. Have you seen how many like there's Misfit Minds guys, the ones that do random skits and interviews people?
Oh yeah,
like those guys. Look how much reach they get because it's so captivating. They're just asking random people and levers, those bread gang, whatever guys. I think, you know, like those. Like I don't know why people are looking into shit like that. They're like, fuck, dude. People like that, you could turn them into DJs themselves and podcasters, which includes your marketing. You know, spend less of your marketing budget.
That's the other thing as well. So there's this thing called like effective frequency. So there was like a study in I think it was in the 70s or the 80s, fucking couple of decades ago. They basically figured out like the more you see something, just the more that you'll like it. So what they did was they would they'll just sit people down. Yes. Yeah, so they'll just sit people down and they'll just like flash up random logos fast enough that they could recognize them, but or slow enough that they could recognize them, fast enough that they wouldn't know which one they saw the most. And then they just brought them into another room and they just had all the symbols that they saw laid out. They're like, which one do you like the most? And they like consistently pick the one that they just like got served the most.
Literally.
And so that's why I always have the ongoing joke with all of my clients. I'm like, look, sometimes like maybe you actually just like your friends and family because they just served you the most impressions across your lifetime. Like that's all it is. And that's all like all these like influencer brands and stuff like that are. It's just like you just saw them on your phone screen the most times.
That's it. Yeah. It literally is. And like we like that's why like people always go, what is the point of these fucking Coca-Cola ads? Look at you, you're mentioning Coca-Cola. What do you think? It's the brand awareness. You're talking about it right now. They're doing exactly what you want. And then you'll say that many times that you would end up going to buy one. Like, you know what I'm saying? You see one like back in the day, probably I think it was like you said it was like 8 times you saw it and then someone will buy it. Now it's like 20 times.
It was like 20
So now you need to see a fucking their logo more, which means you're gonna double down on your brand awareness. And like fuck, podcast is just such a good way of doing it, man. Like I listen to the Inspired Unemployed guys like all the time, right? Like on a weekly basis. And bro, they're just the most typical standard Aussie blokes ever. Just have great personalities and fuck, they kill it on there. And like the way that they do their podcasts, right, is instead of doing like an hour-long one, like how we do here, they split it. They do it for like half an hour and they have 3 10-minute segments. So this one will be about something. This one will be about something. This one will be about something. And they'll have the ads in between here. So that like, and then all you have to put, you know, like on the title. I mean, they don't do this in theirs, but like, you know, if I was doing it, you could just put what those 3 are about, you know, human trafficking, Brandon vomiting on the Queen, blah, 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 blah. It's just completely 3 different topics and you can film them all different fucking days. You can film a segment here today, 10 minutes, and next week you film a segment for 10 minutes, but then you put them up in the same videos because you think, oh, these 3 segments are so out of whack together that they're going to create the biggest buzz and curiosity for someone to click on it. You know? Whereas if you just do a whole hour video, maybe like, you know, people are going to be like, oh, it's going to be just about this guy. They'll listen for a bit and then they might, you know, not care about the rest. But you do it like on things that'll pique people's interest, you know? So fuck, like, you know, one could be like, oh, talk about threesomes, and then Mia Khalifa, because you're like, oh, you're putting Mia Khalifa in threesomes, you're like, oh, in your head, like, you know, whatever. Like, guys, I don't know what people are watching porn or watch porn, but like, whatever, you know, as in like, it's you're not telling them to think like that, but you're doing, here's this and that. What do you think? You know, just fucking the same shit like what the media does. Like fucking, totally. Here's an Arab, and this is a fucking bombing, like, you know, suicide bombing. What do you guys think? You know, they're not saying it relates, but
they're just trying to like trigger you and like get you to fucking watch it and things like that. That's totally. Before we wrap up, and I've got to interview Harrison in 11 minutes. Any kind of, I suppose, words of advice for anyone in the early DJ career that doesn't know what the fuck
DJ career, honestly, is just to do it. Like I see so many people just talking out of their ass saying, oh yeah, you know, I've been wanting to do it. You just fucking just do it, man. Like just fucking execute it. Like that is one thing that I really respect you. I like talking to Jackson, I like talking to Dan and stuff, because you guys, and Paul, you guys are all doers. You say something, you're going to do it, and you'll fucking do it. And there's nothing that's better than like having your peers, people that you surround yourself that are also doers. Otherwise, you just won't get shit done. Yeah. So surround yourself with like-minded individuals. It doesn't mean that you have to fucking see them every day. I see you once in a blue moon, but like I chat to you very regularly, and I watch your shit and you watch my shit, because we know we're kind of on that similar grind, right? So I think the best thing is to surround yourself with very like-minded individuals, and to just honestly get out there and fucking do it. If you really wanted a gig, you would fucking go out of your way and get some. Don't do it into a way that's desperate, but just think backwards. Give before you ask. Yeah, that's probably another bigger one. Yeah.